Hey guys! Thanks for tuning in Legend X Studio. My name is John Steffen, and this is the second VGC 2015 team construction video in my YouTube series, Making It Work. If you guys don't know, I believe that almost any Pokemon can be used if supported properly, and I've had some success with this. I've used Mega Pinsir and Articuno in competitive settings and done really well with them. So I want to show you guys how I make a team to support Pokemon that I want to use, and hopefully you can help you guys make a team and support Pokemon that you want to use. So last week I actually used a team using Mega Beedrill, not Pinsir. So I used a team with Mega Beedrill. It was really fun and really cool. I put a link to those videos down below, so you guys should check them out. And if you guys haven't figured out what Mega we're using already, newsflash, we're using Mega Medicham. So last week I actually asked viewers to give me recommendations of what they'd like me to use, and two people actually recommended I use Mega Medicham. So before I actually explain what's on the team and all that, I want you guys to know that there's 3 parts when I make a team. So usually people make a core of like 3 Pokemon. I tend to make a core of like 6 Pokemon. So basically I choose 1 Pokemon at a time, and I kind of choose them in a way to counterbalance the weaknesses, and hopefully by the end I have the team that has a lot of resistances with minimal weaknesses. And then after that I choose what EVs, items, and moves to have on the Pokemon, and then right after that I theorize how I'm going to use the Pokemon, what kind of leads I can have, and what would be the most effective way to use the team. And I look at the weaknesses the team has and how I can get around those weaknesses. So with Mega Medicham, I thought he'd be really cool to use because he has huge power, and huge power basically doubles your attack. So Mega Medicham base attack is 100, so his attacking power would be 200 because of huge power. He also is able to speed type Mega Kangaskhan with a base speed of 100. That means he also can take on Charizards and other Pokemon that have base speeds of 100, and can be really threatening to them if they don't have max speed, because Mega Medicham can get a lot of damage off, which is awesome. He also one-shots Mega Kangaskhan really easy with Drain Punch. I actually did the damage calculations for this. He does about 120% to 140% with just Drain Punch. And even after Intimidation, he does quite a bit of damage, hitting between 78 to 98%. And if you guys haven't seen Mega Medicham before, I didn't put a picture here, but you'll see one later. I mean, Mega Medicham looks really cool. So that's another motive for using him. So down on the right side, you guys see that I put weaknesses and resistances of Medicham. So what I usually do when I'm making a team is, when I choose the 6th Pokemon, the next Pokemon I choose usually counters like a few open weaknesses I have. And open weaknesses, as you can see here, are the highlighted ones. I have an open weakness to Flying, Ghost, and Fairy. Basically that means that I actually have no resistance to that move, which is not good for me because I don't have any clear way to switch properly. So a Pokemon that I thought would be great to resist Flying and Ghost and Fairy would be like a Steel type, because Steel types put a lot of resistance on your team. So I chose Bishop. So sadly he doesn't resist Fairy, but you know, oh well. One of the big reasons I chose Bishop was because he's an intimidator to intimidators. Basically, I expect Medicham to be intimidated a lot, so I have Bishop in there to kind of scare away people from using Bishop, to scare away using Pokemon that can intimidate me, because Bishop can shut them down then. I also chose Bishop because of all of his resistances. I mean, look at it. He's got like, what, 15? He resists, the main reason I chose him because he resists Flying and Ghost from Medicham, which is good to switch between. Also, Fairies kind of fear him, which Medicham probably won't deal with that well. So, I mean, most Fairies actually faint to Bishop's like Iron Head, which is pretty cool. And yeah, crazy resistances, which I said earlier. So this is what the team looks like after I add Bishop. So after I add Bishops, if you look on the resistance side, I have a ton of resistances. I do have a few weaknesses that were added. So I have an open weakness to Fire and Ground, and also Fairy. So the next Pokemon I chose was Togekiss. The reason I chose Togekiss was because, one, Togekiss is really great at doing speed control. He has Tailwind, which doubles your speed for 4 turns. So I thought Togekiss would be great. He's also pretty bulky, so he's good for setting up Tailwind and also for Follow Me support for the rest of the team. And because of his typing, he'd be a great Pokemon to do Follow Me with Bisharp, because Bisharp is weak to ground and fighting, which Togekiss resists. So if my opponent does like Earth Power or something like that, then Togekiss can do Follow Me. He also can do Follow Me to pull away fighting moves, which is great. So after I had Togekiss, this is what the team kind of looks like now. So I still have an open weakness to fire. I have an electric weakness that's open weakness to electric added. And I still haven't covered that fairy weakness. So the next Pokemon I chose, I kind of hoped it wouldn't shoot me in the foot, because it's a dragon. So I chose Garchomp. One of the reasons I chose Garchomp is because he's one of my favorite Pokemon, and like, come on, you gotta use your favorite. He's also really fast. He has a base speed of 1 to 2, which means he outspeeds Charizard and Kangaskhan no problem. He also works well with Togekiss because Togekiss can do Follow Me, and that makes it so Garchomp can't be hit by dragon moves. Garchomp can also Earthquake freely and do a lot of damage to my opponent. Despite not being used too much in VGC 2015, Garchomp is still a really dangerous Pokemon, and he is pretty threatening and I think underestimated this year. He also covers my fire and electric weaknesses because he's dragon and ground type. So when I add Garchomp in, the only open weakness I have now is fairy. I also have 2 weaknesses, which is not good because I have no resistances, and having 2 weaknesses and no resistances just doesn't mix too well. So I added Rotom Heat because I wanted to get a fairy resistance right away. He also added another fire and electric resistance, and Rotom Heat can actually switch pretty well with the rest of my team, resisting at least to one thing the rest of my team is weak to. So I mean, look at his resistances. He's almost like a Bisharp. He has like 8 resistances, which is close to how many Bisharp has. Yeah, and Rotom's pretty good because he has the Levitate ability, so he can also work with Garchomp and do a bunch of other things. So now I finally have a resistance to fairy, and now the only open weakness I have is water. I also resist pretty much everything but water. So I mean, it's looking pretty nice. So the next Pokemon I added was Politoed. After I chose to add Politoed, I kind of thought it may have been a bad idea because, so I wanted a Pokemon to have weather control. Politoed does that exact thing by having drizzle, which basically causes it to rain. And then after I did that, I kind of thought, well, rain does increase water power moves, and I have no resistance besides Politoed, so maybe that wasn't a good idea. But you know, we won't actually see until we test the team. Politoed is actually pretty good at switching for my team too. He switches into Garchomp and Togekiss pretty well because he resists ice. He also switches into Rotom Heat okay because he resists water, but we're actually gonna have to see how that works. And then he's a good ally to put with Bisharp because Bisharp hates fire. And if you throw Politoed out there, he can weaken fire moves and also stop Sunny Day, which is awesome. So after adding Politoed on, I have at least 1 resistance for everything. Weaknesses, I think it's pretty good. I don't have too many double weaknesses in the team. I have about 4, which is okay. I'm a little worried about how my team will deal with fairies, but you know, we're gonna find out how that goes. Alright, next we're gonna talk about the moves, EVs, items, and nature of the Pokemon that I'm using. So first Pokemon we're gonna go over is Mega Medicham. Of course it has to hold Medichamite because that's the only way it can evolve. It's gonna have the ability Pure Power. I chose the moves Drain Punch, Zen Headbutt, and Bullet Punch, and Detect/Protect, kind of the same thing. So Drain Punch and Zen Headbutt are kind of just stab normal moves to get damage off, whereas Bullet Punch, since I'm kind of worried about fairies being threatening to the team, I chose Bullet Punch as a priority move, and 2 to kind of get off a lot of damage against fairies and hopefully get 1-shots or close to 1-shots if they have some chip damage. So I wanted Medicham to be jolly so it can speed tie with Kangaskhan, and so I maxed its speed and attack with 252 and then just put 4 in HP. For Bisharp, I put Focus Sash on it, so if it gets hit by a fighting move, it's still going to survive. The item will probably change because if you guys look down below, I gave it 252 in HP, so I want it to be kind of bulky. So I'm a little unsure what I want to do with it right now, other than being able to switch. I also made him adamant and have 252 in attack to get the most amount of damage off, to kind of be threatening to those intimidators, and 4 in speed. Bisharp has a move knock off to knock off items because it's really useful. Sucker Punch has another priority move. Iron Head to deal with those fairies and other Pokemon, and as a stab move, and then just protect. Okay, the next Pokemon is Togekiss. I gave it the item of Rocky Helmet, so if any Pokemon tries to fake out it to stop it from setting up, they're going to be punished. And I gave it the ability Serene Grace, so it gets off the added, it has a higher chance of getting off the added effect of Air Slash. It has the movesets of Tailwind, Follow Me, Air Slash, and Dazzling Gleam. I gave it a bold nature, so it's a little bulkier and able to survive rock slides from Pokemon like Landers. And I gave it 252 in HP, 132 in defense, and 124 in special defense to try and maximize the amount of EVs it can get, and try and make it as bulky as possible. The reason I gave 132 in defense is because 252 kind of divided in half is about 128. So there's a EV spread of 252, 128, 128 to kind of maximize the amount of EVs used. And if you have an odd IV and you add 4 onto the odd 4 EV points onto the odd IV, you actually get a point boost. So I took 4 away from special defense and added 4 onto defense to get an extra point onto defense, whereas not losing a stat in special defense. Okay, the next Pokemon I have is Garchomp. Garchomp, I gave him Life Orb because Garchomp's pretty scary Garchomp's pretty scary hitting with Life Orb. He gets a lot of damage off even after being intimidated. Of course, I gave him the ability Rough Skin, so he kind of scares off Kangaskhan. He has the move Dragon Claw, Rock Slide, Earthquake, and Protect, so he's kind of just a speedy physical attacker. I gave him the Jolly Nature with max speed and attack and 4 in HP. Next, we have Rotom Heat. I thought it might be fun to play around with this Rotom Heat, so I give it Weakness Policy because if it gets hit by like Rock Slide, its special attack is going to be double, and I thought that'd be kind of cool to play with. So I gave Rotom the ability, the move set Overheat, Thunderbolt, Tin Power Ice, and Protect. So if like it goes against the Landers and they do Rock Slide against me, I can just do Hidden Power Ice and just one-shot it. So for Rotom Heat, I just wanted to kind of make it fast and hit really hard. So I give 4 in HP, 252 in special attack, and 252 in speed. Okay, the last Pokemon we have is Politoed. I kind of wanted to make it sort of bulky so it can switch, but still be able to get off a good amount of damage. So I gave it a bold nature just like Togekiss. 132 in HP, 252 in special attack to get off the most amount of damage, and 124 in speed. I gave him the moveset Scald, Ice Beam, Helping Hand, and Protect. Okay, so leads for this team. So some good leads for this team that I could think of were Garchomp, Rotom, because Garchomp can freely Earthquake then without worrying about hitting my ally, and Rotom can just get damage off. Same thing with Togekiss. Although Togekiss can support Garchomp and set up Tailwind, Medicham Bisharp would be good against opponents that would probably bring like an Intimidator to try and scare them off. And then Bisharp and Togekiss would be good. Bisharp being able to pull away fighting moves, Togekiss being able to pull away fighting moves with Follow Me and letting Bisharp get off attacks. Medicham, Togekiss is also another great lead because same reason, it can pull away attacks and Medicham can get off a lot of powerful attacks, or just kind of intimidate the opponent. And then there's Medicham Politoed, because the idea I had with this was, so I gave Politoed Helping Hand, so if Medicham gets intimidated and wants to, let's say, one-shot Kangaskhan, I can just do Helping Hand, Drain Punch, and pretty much a guaranteed one-shot. And then another good lead that I forgot to put on here would be Politoed Bisharp, which I mentioned earlier. The reason for that is because Politoed brings Drizzle, which weakens the power of fire moves, stops Sunny Day, so it kind of helps Bisharp thrive in that situation and get damage off. Although the problem with that is they're not the fastest Pokemon, so there may be an issue with that. So noticeable weaknesses I had with this team, I actually have no Trick Room control, so I have no clue how I'm going to deal with Trick Room when it comes up. For weather control, rain, if I run into another rain team, I'm going to have an issue because another rain team will most likely have Ludicolo, and if they have Ludicolo, I'm not going to be able to deal with it easily. Togekiss is the closest thing that can actually threaten that Ludicolo, and Ludicolo pretty much threatens the rest of my team. So I'm going to have to be able to shut down Ludicolo pretty well. And that's something I'm going to have to work on when I'm practicing. Other weaknesses will probably occur while I'm practicing, and you guys will see, and I'm just going to continually make changes to the team as I'm practicing. Yeah, that's it for this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you liked this video, please leave a like. If you disliked it, dislike it. And if you have anything else you'd like to say, please leave a comment below. I love to hear comments. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 1, making it work.